your heart's too hard, there's a cool dark well with a silver cup. You take a drink from that and your soul heals up. There's angels playing cards in the living room. There are angels in the back trying on perfume. There's angels on the roof standing on their hands. There's angels on the porch laughing at your plans. But don't you wish you could find? Don't you wish you could find? Don't you wish you could find peace of mind in the house of love? In the house of love, you lay your burdens down and they welcome you when you come around. Nobody judging you, giving you disgrace. They'll say the sweetest things right to your face. Yeah, they're coming for you, baby. Never fear. Angels coming for you, baby. Don't be afraid. Love is coming for you, baby. Never fear, never fear. Love is coming for you, baby. Don't be afraid. Well, now don't you wish you could be? Don't you wish you could be? Don't you wish you could be all safe and free in the house of love?
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley. My name is Reverend Kaya Hartwood. My pronouns are she, they, and we want to welcome you here. All our people are so happy that you have spent this celebration for Meg's life with us today. And this is my great friend, Aisha Hauser, who is one of the co-lead ministers of the CLF, which is the Church of the Larger Fellowship.
Welcome, welcome from near and far. The Reverend Meg Barnhouse was way, way larger than life, than Unitarian Universalism, evidenced by the several memorials that are happening for her this week. One at the Minister's Retreat today and tomorrow. Welcome from across the globe and for those of you online. It is truly an honor to be with all of you to commemorate and hold in our hearts our love for Reverend Meg Barnhouse.
Reverend Jake. Reverend Jake's going to do our call to worship.
Dear friends, we gather this evening with hearts both heavy and grateful. Heavy in the absence of that voice, that laughter, that crackling wisdom, and grateful because we in this room have been and now remain shaped by that love and that power. We come here not to deny death, but to tell the truth about love, not to escape grief, but to share it, to dwell for a while in it, not to only to mark an ending, but to honor what endures, which is all under this sky known as love. Reverend Meg Barnhouse trusted that holiness was here with us in our ordinary life, and today, celebrating her, we too root ourselves in that trust. So let this evening be a sanctuary for tears and for gratitude and celebration, for silence and for song, for heartbreak and, yes, outrageous, unstoppable hope. Blessed be her memory. Blessed be this gathering. Blessed be the love that leaves nobody out. and does not have an end. In that spirit, with this love, let us gather.
I'd like to invite up Ned and Emily to light the chalice. If you can please join me in our chalice lighting words. We light this chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, as a beacon of hope for all who seek justice, dignity, and compassion. Now please join me in our affirmation statement. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. We dwell together to see the truth and love, and to help one another. Thank you.
One, two, three, four. Oh, 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 oh. Wash my hands in the holy water. Sometimes I'm my own worst enemy. Too past stretching out and for me. I'm on the one less heavenly now. Sometimes I forget about modesty. Sometimes I forget about honesty. Days turn into months, I can't figure it out. But I'm grateful today for my dad, it showed me the way. So I wash my hands in the holy water, just like my father on a Sunday morning. Starting again, starting again. Far too many times I ignored the warning, but sometimes falling is the sweetest feeling. Did it again, did it again. Oh, 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 oh. Wash my hands in the holy water. One step at a time, I go steadily. 2 steps in the club, no remedy. 1 step in the sand, Lord, carry me now. Some days I'll be searching in the bottle. Sometimes I'll be thinking to the bottom. Sometimes I'm thinking I'll never come down. So I wash my hands in the holy water, just like my father on a Sunday morning. Starting again, starting again. Far too many times I ignored the warning, but sometimes falling is the sweetest feeling. Did it again, did it again. My hands in the holy water, just like my father on a Sunday morning. Starting again, starting again. Far too many times I ignored the warning, 'cause sometimes falling is the sweetest feeling. Did it again, did it again. I did it again. Holy water, just like my father on a Sunday morning. Starting again, starting again. I did it again. Sometimes I ignore the warning, 'cause sometimes falling is the sweetest feeling. I did it again, did it again. So much hands in the holy water, just wash my hands in the holy water. Love and Joy Choir.
From Meg's book, Waking Up the Karma Fairy, this is Heart of Compassion. We were at Lake Blaylock looking out over the water from a wrought iron table loaded with hot dogs and hamburgers, chips and dip, sodas and beer chilled in tin tubs. My 12-year-old was inside my friend Charlie's house playing pool. 3 little kids were jumping off the dock into their mother's arms. My 14-year-old was at the table with the grown-ups. In a few months, he would go off to school in New Jersey, far away from this place. My beloved friend, Pat Job, was across the table from me, and my son was at the end of the table between us. "Boy, I got something important to ask you," Pat said in an old man voice. My son smiled at him with half his attention. He had other thoughts in his head. He was spending lots of time with his thoughts these days. "Now, boy, you listen to me here," Pat said. "This is something you're going to remember for a long time, something you tell your children about, maybe even your grandchildren." Grinning, he grabbed the front of my son's shirt in his fist. He had my boy's attention now. Mine too. "Have you got a heart of compassion?" My son wasn't sure he had heard right. "Excuse me?" He was smiling, puzzled. Someone took a picture. I saw the flash out of the corner of my eye. "A heart of compassion, boy, you heard me. Do you have a heart of compassion?" I think so." "It's the most important thing, boy. More than hot cars and fast women, more than money or schooling, to have a heart of compassion." A week later, we were standing in his new dorm room in New Jersey. It felt like it was a world away from our home in South Carolina. Duffel bags full of clothes and linens, a plastic basket of laundry supplies, golf clubs he had brought with him. Everything was scattered on the bed, on the dresser, on the floor. He was going to grow into manhood far from home. "Do you want us to help you get all set up?" I asked. "I think I want to go down and see my coach," he said, and stuffed his hands in his pockets. "I guess we'll just get on down the road," I said. "I have presents for you." I gave him a picture of all of us. Then I pulled out the picture of Pat Job leaning in close to him, his shirt bunched in Pat's fist. "Do you remember?" "Heart of compassion," my son said with no hesitation whatsoever. When I visited several months later for Parents' Weekend, the picture was up on the dresser, the first thing you see when you come into the room. That boy's going to be okay.
My name is Cameron Young. I bring you greetings from the southern region of our Unitarian Universalist Association. The first time I heard Meg Barnhouse's name was from a 16-year-old youth in one of our UU churches. I was a religious educator, and we were hosting what's called a Youth Sunday, where the youth lead the entire worship service. And my youth group came to me and said, we want to do this song, All Will Be Well, by Meg Barnhouse. Many adults across our faith and across the country knew who Meg was, or knew Meg, or Meg had touched them in some way, but you know you've arrived when people under the age of 18 know who you are. And when I visited here a few months ago, I got to see the joy that this congregation brought her. After decades of doing really profound ministry, though we never take our ministerial hats off fully, she got to just come here and be human, not the Reverend Meg Barnhouse, even though that's still part of her, but she could be just human and natural with you all. What a gift you gave her. At our ministers' retreat this past week, we had the famed poet Naomi Wahib Nye read us a very short poem that's stuck with me ever since. People don't pass away, they die, and then they stay. And she has stayed here with you. She is here, she's all in pulpits all over the country, her music everywhere. She's still among us and around us.
As proof, and I didn't intend to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this. I went to go put my robe on, and I had more barbecue yesterday than I have had in my entire life up until then, and it's very tight. And I looked in the mirror and I could just hear Meg laughing and saying, "You go, girl." But before that, I met Meg officially about 10 years ago at a minister's chapter retreat. So it's very appropriate that y'all had one just recently. And my wife Sue and I were out walking on a break, stretching our legs on this beautiful campus, when we ran into Meg and Kaya doing the same thing. And there was this immediate recognition. Another queer clergy couple, not performing anything, just being. Just clearly, unmistakably, deeply in love. Kaya wasn't ordained yet, but that's honestly besides the point. What I remember most is the ease, the delight, the quiet relief of seeing lives shaped by love that looked a little like our own. Soon after, Meg and I began talking on the regular. And over time, those conversations became a steady part of our lives. Lucky me. We talked about birds and dreams, like literal dreams, and regrets, and things that just pissed us off. We talked about how sexy and badass our wives are. We talked about grandchildren who felt nothing short of holy. About astonishing grace of having adult sons who actually liked talking to us. I would read poems or songs sometimes, and together we would notice what was still alive and meaningful, even as life kept changing. I was with her through many thresholds. Through the shedding and organizing of papers and decisions, her final memoir, her last song, learning a wheelchair, a medical card, retirement, the long and humbling work of getting used to needing help. She spoke honestly about aging, about how exposed it felt, how identity shifts, when the body changes faster than the spirit expects. Too much change, she would say, too slow, too hard. And yet again and again, she would return to gratitude for home, for Kaya, who she adored and was so proud of, for sons who loved her company and who, oh my God, did she love you, for miraculous grandchildren, for friends who generously showed up in so many ways, for seeds and fruit and birds and smudge, for swimming, that silky, salty relief where pain loosens its grip and she could remember herself again. We talked about pain a great deal, how pain can become mean, how it tries to shrink who you are. And still, she said more than once, I want to stay alive as long as I can love. That was her compass, love. And she was fascinated by the ancestors, not only the respectable, white, Calvinistic, Protestant ones, which she has many, but but she suspected these ancestors might be horrified by her life, and they might, whatever, that's their problem. But also her ancestors of Audre Lorde and Aunt Ruth, a widening lineage of courage. We talked about what it will be like to be an ancestor. She once told me that angels, if they exist, would surely say, and there are children here, so surely they would say, we don't give about marriage, we care about love. And that sounds just about exactly right. And near the end, she wondered who might greet her. Her friend Charlie, she hoped, and maybe Denise, the TikTok receptionist of heaven, because Meg never lost her sense of humor about the eternity. And if you don't know who Denise on TikTok or Instagram is, Denise, the receptionist of heaven. You're welcome. Her dreams grew very vivid. Dragonflies, red birds, kites lifting into the open sky. And what I witnessed over the years was someone learning how to receive love and release the roles and expectations, all while holding fast to what mattered most. And beneath everything else was this quiet knowing she was loved, and she loved well. Meg loved fully and fiercely. And wherever she is now, among ancestors, angels, birds, or mystery, I imagine her greeted not by judgment, but by recognition. Ah, there you are, beloved, welcome home.
Oh, hi, I'm Lavender. Meg had an amazing memory. She remembered pretty much everything about everyone. She had a story for every occasion. She remembered everybody's names and their parents' names and their significant others and their kids and their grandkids and their friends. And I can guarantee you, if you've met her even one time, she remembers you and she knows your face. You never had to be alone if she was there because she was a stranger to nobody. There's the idea of the collective memory. Each person in a community remembers a few patches of a large quilt so that they can share it with the rest. And Meg carried Meg carried our collective memory on her shoulders. And I don't want that to be something that she takes with her to wherever she's going. I want us all to do our part I want us all to do our part to take our place in the collective memory, learn people's faces and names, learn the names of their kids and their interests, talk to the people who are much older or much younger than you, and make sure that nobody here is alone and nobody is a stranger for long. Thank you.
It's going to take some adjustment on the microphone. Hi, all. I am Ned. I'm Mom's youngest son, excuse me. She would have loved that. Yeah. Can y'all hear everything? Mom wanted me to play a jazz standard at her funeral, and that is so like her. As soon as Kaya told me, I said, like, yeah, that makes sense. Checks out. Oh, Skylark, have you anything to say to me? Won't you tell me where my love might be? Is there a meadow in the mist where someone's waiting to be kissed? Oh, Skylark, have you seen a valley green with spring, where my heart can go a journeying over the shadows in the rain, through a blossom-covered lane, and in your lonely flight? Haven't you heard the music in the night? It's a wonderful music that is faint as the will-o'-the-wisp, heavy as a loon, sad as a gypsy serenading the moon. Oh, Skylark, I don't know if you can find these things, but my heart is riding on your wings. So if you see her anywhere, oh, won't you take me there? Oh, 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 Skylark, I don't know if you can find these things, but my heart is riding on your wings. So if you see her anywhere, oh, won't you take me there? Thank you. And thank you, Mom, for that. Sorry, she would have loved this too, me stumbling on my phone trying to find what I wrote about her. Yeah. My mother was a mountain. She was romanticism and magical realism personified. She sometimes seemed like a character to other people, inspiring to so many, often modeled or imitated, written into stories and referenced. But such is life when someone is so wonderful that they become mythologized. And she would have clutched her pearls at me saying that, but would have kind of feigned that a little bit and also enjoyed me saying it. It's powerful for me and our family to know how impactful she was in so many other people's lives, and more specifically in this wonderful Unitarian Universalist world. Over the years, I've had so many people, after sermons or concerts or readings, come up to me and say, "Oh, you are so lucky to have Meg as your mom." And when I was still a growing man, I was still working on my self-confidence, and I would say, "Yes, you are so right." Now that I'm older and I'm raising children of my own, I say to that sentiment, "You have no idea how lucky I am." Because however wonderful she was in church services or performances or readings, she was always so much more wonderful as a mother. And I really do want to take a moment to call into the room how much of a feat that is, because she was truly incredible in all of those spaces as well. And I quite literally could not have asked for a better mother. Mom was kind, she was thoughtful and warm. She made us feel safe, invincible because someone so brilliant and talented was raising us. Our conversations were profound and meaningful. She had a gift for asking the right question. You know, the ones that would bring forth the crux and the spark, those real revelations. And sometimes frustratingly and mostly remarkably, she would do that all the time. Yeah, man, it's hard to keep track of what you're reading when you're crying, huh? She taught my brother and me to be Renaissance men who care and stand for something, even in spaces where that may have seemed menial to others. We couldn't play video games where people killed people, but the most important rule for our video games was that we could not play any games where a damsel needed saving. And you know how Mom that is. In Mom's dream video games, it was the damsels who did the saving. Tomb Raider was a favorite. And if I was wearing glasses, I would do Mom's peer over her glasses when I say that. One of the things that Mom exemplified most for us throughout our time on this earth together was that we can and should proudly be exactly who we are, and that would always be enough. I was in middle school when Mom was getting her second-degree black belt in karate. We're standing in the living room of the first house that she bought after her divorce with our father. Both of our feet standing on a Persian rug that Mom got during her time spent living in India, or Israel, I can't remember. We're horsing around while watching some TV, and I remember physically challenging Mom in reference to her karate. I wrap my arms around her, and she half throws me over her hip, just enough to knock me off balance, but she catches me before I fall. We laugh, and I stand back up trying to regain my pride, and she says, "Okay, now let me teach you how to be immovable." She shows me how to have my feet shoulder width apart, or wider if that feels sturdy, my knees bent, hands soft but engaged and ready. Now slightly bend your knees to give yourself a powerful base and plant yourself firmly into the earth, she said, just like a mountain.
We are ready. Dee Dee Kunze is one of Meg's longest friends. And I'm reading Dee Dee's words. While driving on country roads on farm calls about 30 years ago, I first heard Meg Barnhouse on WNCW. She made me laugh so hard that I had to pull over until she finished her Radio Free Bubba essay. A little later, I had to send her a note saying how much I enjoyed her writing. She was preaching at the Spartanburg UU and other UU fellowships in the area. With time, we got to know each other and became fast friends. I got to watch Sam and Ned grow up to be handsome, brilliant, accomplished young men with beautiful families of their own. But long before that, we all made the trek to Susie a number of times. Once, when Susie was at Redford, Margaret Schmidt and I noticed the rapt hush of the audience about 5 minutes into her sermon, and we felt she was meant for a wider audience. We formed a small production company to help get Radio Free Bubba published. Meg took it from there, following with many more books and CDs. Some years later, again at Susie, Meg met Kaya. These two brilliant and wildly talented people worked extremely hard over the years to weave their lives together. Their marriage and devotion serves as an inspiration to us all. As Meg's profile rose in the UU denomination, I was honored that she asked me to be a reference for the pulpit search committees, first at Princeton and later at Austin. It was my great pleasure to say that she was the best preacher I had ever heard, and then they had better be prepared to see their congregations grow. You're welcome. It has been my joy to have known one of the most brilliant, fierce, kind, hilarious, and talented women as my dearest friend. We all are going to miss, and I will be among the ones who will miss her the most.
So we're going to light candles. Those of y'all who are from here, show them how it's done. Hold on, hold on, my dear ones, here comes the dawn. Hold on, hold on, my dear ones, here comes the dawn. Hold on, hold on, my dear ones, here comes the hold on, my dear ones, here comes the dawn. Hold on, hold on, my dear ones, here comes the dawn. Hold on, hold on, my dear ones, here comes the dawn. Hold on, hold on,
Hold on. Hold on, my dear ones. Here comes the dawn. Hold on. Hold
I want to share that when I was here in the fall, or was it summer? I don't know what time means anymore. I think in the fall. Meg gifted me one of her stoles. Actually two, but I'm wearing one. This one. Kaya, thank you for this invitation. There aren't words that anyone could say that will take away the pain of losing Meg. And yet there is the love and gratitude that we can share as a balm. And my love for you is deep. Ned and Emily and Sam and Emily, who aren't here, both of her daughters-in-law are Emily. We need to appreciate that. We used to refer to you as the Emilys because it's adorable. Her grandchildren, Vance, Early, Piper Lee, Hollis, and Willow. We all know how dear each of you was to your mom. We will always hold you in our hearts. The sermon title is from a book by the Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, No Death, No Fear. I'll begin with an excerpt from the book. He writes, "The day my mother died, I wrote in my journal, a serious misfortune of my life has arrived. I suffered for more than 1 year after the passing away of my mother, but one night in the highlands of Vietnam, I was sleeping in the hut in my hermitage, and I dreamed of my mother. I saw myself sitting with her, and we were having a wonderful talk. She looked young and beautiful, her hair flowing down. It was so pleasant to sit there and talk to her as if she had never died. When I woke up, it was about 2 in the morning, and I felt very strongly that I had not lost my mother. The impression that my mother was still with me was very clear, and I understood then that the idea of having lost my mother was just an idea. It was obvious in that moment that my mother is always alive in me." Thich Nhat Hanh says that nothing is ever truly lost, only transformed. The wave returns to the ocean, the leaf becomes the soil, energy shifts form but does not vanish. This is not mere comfort, it is physics, biology, truth. When I first read the book, No Death, No Fear, many years ago, I was intrigued at the time, but not entirely convinced of the message that death is not the end, only transformation. And then when Kaya let me know about Meg's passing, she said, "Death is not the end, only a change of address." And I immediately thought of the book, and that the message was exactly the same. Death is not permanent, only a change of address. The idea of death and the impermanence of life is something I was confronted with early in my life. I lost my 1-month-old sister when I was just 3 years old, and my father died 10 years later when I was 13, and he was only 42. So by the time I started high school, I had already lost one parent and one sibling. Now, my sister and I were raised by a mother who holds firmly to the belief that there is indeed a heaven and a hell and a judgment day that will determine where we will end up for eternity. I never fully understood these rigid ideas of eternal life that subjected souls to never-ending damnation or never-ending utopia. Frankly, both sound tiresome and boring. And I think Meg agreed. While I long ago dismissed the idea of any kind of eternal life, I have wondered what comes next, if anything. I also don't dwell on the idea of death. What death taught me is not to take anything in life for granted. Recently, on the podcast, How to Survive the End of the World, hosted by Adrienne Marie Brown and her sister Autumn Brown, I heard a moving discussion with jazz singer Nina Freeland. She has written a book about losing her husband, the love of her life of 40 years, and losing her sister to cancer, and her family dog, all in a period of 6 months. The book is titled Beneath the Skin of Sorrow, Improvisations on Loss. I have not yet read the book, but I do want to share something Nina Freeland said during the podcast. quote. When we say the word grief, we think it means sadness and sorrow and tears, and it can totally mean that, and it can mean joy. But it's all the work that you do when you have loved. It's love work. Dig where your tears fall. That is where the work and the love is. Decolonizing grief from where we have placed it in the Western culture. Grief is love work. Dig where our tears fall. Since Meg transitioned to become an ancestor herself, I have found my grieving come in waves, as it often does. One minute I will be chuckling at something she said to me, and the next the realization that while I can still talk to her and tell her stories, she will not be responding with what had become customary for us. Oh, Aisha. Especially since my divorce, I heard that a lot with the stories I told her. It was a source of joy whenever we were able to connect, and we relished the stories we told each other and the lessons we learned from our experiences. What I hold dear and what we all will hold dear are the stories and the love that is sacred and alive. How we grieve as a culture is a reflection of how we love and the strength of communal bonds. As Nina Freelon named, we need to decolonize grief from where we have placed it in the Western culture, and where has grief been placed? It has been, in my opinion, disembodied from love and from who we are, because the depth of our grief is a testament to how much we have loved. In Western culture, specifically the United States, I've experienced the grieving process as part of consumerism: buy the coffin, a plot, rent a space for the repast, etc., and so forth. I'm Egyptian, and in Egypt, the grieving process is quite communal, and it is expected that for the next few weeks, usually months, sometimes years, members of the grieving family would have a consistent flow of visitors, so they never grieve alone. I remember when a distant cousin died and we visited Egypt months later after the death, and my mother still took us to visit with the grieving parents, and we sat while they recalled the memory of their child and cried, and we drank tea and ate cookies, and we sat in grief together. My experience in the United States has been that when someone dies, people are often at a loss of what to do. Of course, folks share their condolences, either in cards or now on posts on social media, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I have done and do these exact things. And in one way, it is community showing up for the person grieving and the people grieving. However, I have found something missing. People go home after the funeral, memorial, celebration of life, and there is not necessarily the tradition here of community care, of making sure that those grieving are not alone for many weeks and many months. Honoring the Reverend Meg Barnhouse, mom of Ned and Sam, includes honoring her beloved Kaya and her children and grandchildren, the people who made her heart sing. And the people who made her heart sing the most are her grandchildren, Early, Vance, Piper Lee, Hollis, and Willow. And I'll be speaking to them, hoping that one day they will watch the memorial of their beloved and quite famous grandmother. I hope that for the rest of your lives, you know the love and joy that your grandmother gifted the world. I hope that when you say, one of my grandmothers was the Reverend Meg Barnhouse, that people share their stories of how her music and her stories impacted their lives. May those stories nourish you and fill you with the love she has for you. Another memorable line in the book, No Death, No Fear, he says, instead of asking how did they die, ask, how did they live? Meg lived a life full of courageous love, laughter, and so much wisdom. One of the tributes I read on social media was that of the Reverend Misha Sanders asking, would UUism even know how to UU without Meg Barnhouse? Obviously, the answer is no. I am grateful that we don't have to wonder what modern Unitarian Universalism would be without Meg, because Meg lived and shared her wisdom, her stories, her songs. Yes, the most famous being All Will Be Well. My children and I were lucky enough to meet Meg and Kaya almost 20 years ago. So my children grew up singing All Will Be Well, and to this day, when I am having a bad day, my son will say to me, remember, Mom, all will be well. While All Will Be Well is the most popular of Meg's songs, I really want to give a plug to Mango Thoughts in a Meatloaf Town, which I think should take over Spirit of Life. You're welcome, and that's a campaign I'll take up another time. We do carry with us all who we have loved. We will carry Meg with us forever. I want to end by sharing what happened yesterday in Austin at a place called Another Broken Egg Cafe. It was my first time there, and while walking in, I asked what I should order. And the first person who was seating me said, you have to get the Bourbon Street pancakes. I've been eating them every day for 2 weeks. Then I sat down and I got the menu, but then I saw that the crawfish and shrimp omelet was calling to me. So now I'm like, Bourbon Street pancakes, which were caramel sauce, pecans, banana, whipped cream, or crawfish and shrimp omelet. So I explained my dilemma to the waitress who comes over, and she said, well, if you tell me it's your birthday, you get the pancakes for free. So I said, it's my birthday, November 21st, under my breath. So it wasn't a complete lie. So of course I got the pancakes for free, and as I'm eating them, I'm letting her know that I'm in town for a memorial of one of my best friends, and she said, my mother died 10 years ago, and she was quite young. And we shared stories of the people we love. She told me she's from the Bahamas and her mom had lived a lot of places, and she didn't realize quite how popular her mother was until her memorial. I told her about Meg and how it seemed fitting that I was indulging in the most delicious pancakes I've ever had in my life in honor of my friend who wrote the song Mango Thoughts in a Meatloaf Town. And we shared a moment of grief and also of love. A love for the people who left us too soon and who will always live in us. May we hold in our hearts always the love we have for Meg. May her memories of all her gifts sustain and nourish us. And Kaya and Ned and Emily, I hope you all feel the love surrounding you. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
Ned was here.
Oh, shame is a prison as cruel as the grave. Shame is a Father, and is coming to take my name. Oh, love is my Redeemer, lifts me up from the ground. Love is the power where my freedom song is found. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. Oh, fear is a liar with a smooth and velvet tongue. Fear is a tyrant telling me I got to run. Well, love's the resurrection. Love's what it took us from. Love is my weapon, and it takes these giants down. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. You tell me I'm wicked, that I'm on my way to hell. I tell you my perfection came from God as well. We are one in the Spirit. Our hearts are divine. This life is a blessing. Sweet blessing is mine. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. All will be well.
I said, Julian, you are holy. You are holding my hand. And Julian, you are holy. You are holding my hand. She said, all will be well. All will be well. All manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, do you not know? Do you not know about sorrow? And Julian, do you not know? Do you not know about pain? I said, Julian, do you not know? Do you not know about hunger? Julian, do you not know? Do you not know about shame? She said, all will be well. All will be well. All manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, do you not know? Do you not know about loneliness? And Julian, do you not know? Do you not know about disease? And I said, Julian, do you not know? Do you not know about cruelty? I said, Julian, it's too much. It's brought me to my knees. And she said, all will be well. All will be well. All manner of things will be well. And she said, no one does not know about sorrow. May no one does not know about pain. She said, no one does not know about hunger. And no one does not know about shame. She said, all will be well. All will be well. All manner of things does not know about loneliness, and no one does not know about disease. She said no one does not know about cruelty. She said, I know it's too much. Brought me to my knees, where I heard all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. She said, baby girl, do you not know about tenderness? She said, baby girl, do you not know about friends? She said, baby girl, do you not know about the Spirit? And she said, baby girl, do you not know it's only love that never ends, only love that never ends. And so all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And so all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well.
I would like to see us have the party that Meg deserves, and we will start that as soon as we sing the benediction. Those of y'all who know it, please sing with me if you choose to. Remember the way of the wind, and breathe and blow. Remember the way of the fire, and sparkle and glitter and glow. Remember the way of the water, and ebb and flow. Remember the way of the